Përshëndetje, në emisionin 10 minuta do të flasim për një temë aktuale, sigurisht që aktualizohet më së shumti në sezonin e vjeshtës me Ministrin e Mjedisit dhe Planifikimit Hapësinor Naser Nuredinin. Faleminderit Ministër që ndatë kohë sigurisht pyetje do t'u bëj shqip, po më lehtë dhe më mirë do t'ju vinë të përgjigjeni në anglisht. Fillimisht, çfarë ajri thithin qytetarët e Maqedonisë së Veriut?
First of all, thank you for the opportunity to be able to express myself and to answer your questions. Currently, we are, unfortunately, as we have always every year, at this time of the year, entering the season of heating and the season of high air pollution. Unfortunately, we have a higher air pollution than desired. We have a lot of work ahead of us. The first instances in data we are actually looking at and seeing, also from this year and the previous years, shows very clearly, unfortunately, that between 4 and 5 p.m. in the day until 10, 11, 12 p.m. in the evening, the air pollution increases dramatically. The reason why is because people go home and start heating their homes and other facilities in the country as well. It's just not people's homes. At the same time, we have a heat inversion in the evening, which actually pressurizes the air. So one of the main reasons is, unfortunately, the heating of our facilities and our homes. Another one of the reasons is, of course, the industry, which needs to be controlled and is being controlled, but maybe we need to be a lot more strict, and shall be in the future once we get more inspectors on the ground. The third major cause of air pollution is the mobility, our cars. Unfortunately, we have a very old fleet of cars in our country. On average, I think it's about 16 years, based on a study by UNDP. This is something we need to work on, to actually motivate our citizens to get rid of their old cars and buy new, more ecologically friendly cars.
Nuk e di nëse ju ka rastisur mbrëmja në ankuar edhe parëmbrëm shumë qytetarët e Shkupit, sidomos se zakonisht kryeqyteti është ai në top listat e kryeqyteteve më të ndotura në botë si vitin e kaluar. Ju ka rastisur edhe juve si ministër të dilni të ndini atë erën e keqe që thonë qytetarët se po bie në Shkup dhe të shihni ndotjen?
Yes. Unfortunately, I have, but then again, I won't say it's only Skopje. Unfortunately, it's also Tetovo, it's also Kumanovo, it's also Bitola, it's Kavadarci as well, and the others. So the question is, why is it in the evening? We have a lot of international research, we have a lot of local research, and every single one of them, unfortunately, states it is the heating. Why is it in the evening, not during the day? During the day, we have the cars and the industry. During the evening, we have the heating. Unfortunately, yes, I've had the unpleasant experience to inhale this polluted air. Now the question is, what are we going to do about it? And why is it happening? So we have different heating methods. Some people use heavy oil or heating oil, which is unfortunately pollutes the air. Some people use wood. We need to control and manage the wood we actually heat with. There are international standards which we should try and achieve, those being that the wood we heat with should not have more than 20% humidity. Unfortunately, what I've come to realize over the time is that we cut down the trees this year and we use them for heating immediately. There's a process normally where you get them to dry sufficiently and then you use them for heat. Another thing we're looking at is actually trying to regulate the pellets. I know that the government has, rightfully so, because it is supposedly more environmentally friendly to use pellets for heating. However, though, what we haven't managed to do so far and what we are actually working on and processing on is to check the quality of the pellets being used and imported into our country, because they could also be a large polluter, because glue is being used in other substances.
Zotri Nuredini, vlerësoni se vetëm ndoshta me ato invertorët që janë subvencionuar vitin e kaluar mund përmirësohet cilësia e ajrit?
We'll have an improvement, but it's not going to be drastic. I think we all need to be aware of that. I mean, there will be an improvement, but this is not the solution. These are 10,000 households. There's a lot more households in our country than that. What we need to do is we need to work on energy efficiency of every household. What we need to do is actually look at how do we motivate our citizens to connect to the central heating rather than use solid fuels. At the same time, we also need to think about the fact that where does the electricity come from? So inverters use electricity, a lot less, of course, they're a lot more efficient. However, we need to look at that as well. Our electricity is being generated by Rek Bitola. Rek Bitola uses lignite. It's one of our largest polluters in our country. The idea is that we move from this kind of generation of electricity to more renewable energy, and we potentially look at something we've discussed with the government already, and I believe the Prime Minister has already mentioned it, to convert at least one of the blocks, one of the reactors in Rek Bitola to gas, potentially converting the second one. So the idea is we need to work on renewable energy. The inverters will help. However, that is not the solution. It will help partially. What we've been working on over the last few years, over the last 12 months, is initially we had a program last year together with the EU delegation where we got 10 million euros grant to work on the public buildings in our country and convert them from heavy oil, wood, pellets to gas. Now, we had a list, we got really far along. Unfortunately, the pandemic happened and delayed this progress, and those funds were unfortunately, depending how you want to look at it, they're being used to the economic support of the country. In the meantime, we have been allocated 4 million euros for that, so we will utilize that money to convert, may it be, for example, the hospital in Tetovo, the hospital in Kumanovo, the hospital in Strumica, to convert them from using heavy oil to using gas, and other public buildings where we can quickly make a change.
Kur planifikohet, se nuk ju kuptova, të bëhen këto gazifikimi i spitalit të Kumanovës, përmendës se ka përmendur edhe ministri i shëndetësisë Filip, që parashihet në afat më të shkurtër?
As you know, we just recently finalized, of course, the project in Chayr, the hospital in Chayr, that was actually changed from heavy oil to gas. These are actually underground tankers which actually contain the gas, because we have not built a secondary and tertiary gas network. Now, the idea is to do the same thing with the other hospitals in the meantime until the secondary and tertiary gas network is built out. Because, for example, now the primary network, the gas network, is approximately 95% finished towards Bitola, about 85% finished towards the west, towards Tetovo. Once we manage to build the primary network, and we have opened a tender, our country has opened a tender to build a secondary and tertiary gas network for international companies. This should hopefully be finalized within the next few months. We will start building on the secondary and tertiary network. Then these facilities will get connected directly to the gas network and not need to have transported natural gas.
Ju keni qenë në këtë pozitë edhe vitin e kaluar, Ministeri i Ekologjisë. A mund të na thoni konkretisht çfarë masash u ndërmorën vitin e kaluar për ta luftuar ndotjen e ajrit?
Last year, I came in July 2019. Time was short to try and take certain measures. We did propose an active working group between the inspectors of the environment, inspectors of construction, inspectors of agriculture, inspectors of there was one more inspector, I forgot which one it was, and with the police. The idea was to control and see what kind of polluters there were out there, and to minimize it. Again, we're doing the same thing, a very similar thing. In the meantime, we've also changed the laws, by the way. The idea is to amend the laws. We have actually proposed these laws already this year, beginning of the year, in January, I apologize. We proposed them to the government, the past government procedure, the change on air quality, which is an amendment we made in harmonization with the EU Directive, CAFE Directive, which will oblige the municipalities to have a management plan. So any municipality that has more than 35,000 citizens living in it, or any municipality that even has less than 35,000 citizens living there, or which has a history of pollution, will need to have a management plan in place should certain limits be breached and the pollution go above those. Now, the idea is that they will have the right then to legally change the transport, divert transport and traffic, change the working hours potentially for the people which unfortunately have underlying health issues, change the working hours of certain industry installations, etc., and public gatherings and sport events, etc. Now, should the municipalities not take any action based on this law, the government will have the legal right to intervene and take action as well and make the necessary changes. These are the legal changes we can make right now. Among other things, we are working on different laws and regulations.